So the topic of today's video is Bethesda.
It is indeed, Brad.
Quite relevant in today's video game climate.
Not really, no, because we're talking about a game that works. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, henceforth shortened in this video as just the word Oblivion, because I'm not saying that every single time, is a video game that introduced gamers around the world to a concept known as Radiant AI, something the company making Oblivion had to immediately tone down because it made AI in the game too smart.
So just so everyone's on the same page, what is Radiant AI?
Well, to quote a technical description of it I found online, Radiant AI is a proprietary AI system developed by Bethesda Studios that gives NPCs, or non-playable characters, procedurally generated scripts to follow in-game.
I was quite impressed you didn't fumble on that one.
And that's good. It's almost like I speak for a living. I was going to do that and I realised this tea's very hot, to take a big swig out of something, like a little sip. A little Prince-esque sip, not a big old glug like I wanted to.
Do you reckon people in other countries, like, you need to stick your little finger out or we're not British?
Well, I do normally do that. It's just this tea's quite full, so it's quite heavy. And I've got very weak fingers. Sorry, ladies.
So without all of the technical jargon, what is Radiant AI?
In its simplest sense, it's just a system you put into a video game that programs all of the non-playable characters to follow a schedule of sorts. For example, in Oblivion, all of the characters in-game are programmed to eat, sleep and work.
So why do they do this?
To make the world feel more alive, and for the people at home, I'd like to look into the cold, dead eyes of this stoic, steel-plated law dildo and tell me that guy does not look alive.
Stop! You violated the law. Pay the court a fine or serve your sentence.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but most NPCs in most games follow schedules or do certain tasks.
Yeah, they have like a series of scripted events that they're supposed to do. The difference with Radiant AI is that the NPCs have, for lack of a better term, the freedom to interpret those commands in a way that the player might not expect. My favourite example of this is that that every NPC is going to eat at a specific time, but if the NPC doesn't happen to have any food in their inventory, they can go out and buy it, or they'll seek out a place where they can eat it. That in itself is quite impressive, but there's another thing that can influence it, and it's a hidden in-game attribute called responsibility. And basically, that dictates how lawful a given character is. And a character with particularly low responsibility will, if they are hungry or they're programmed to eat at that particular time, try to steal food. And my favourite example of this is a character in one city in Oblivion called City Swimmer. And early in the game's life cycle, forums talking about Oblivion would say, yeah, I've been to like Brazil or wherever the fuck it is City Swimmer lives, and just City Swimmer's just dead. And I'll go to a corpse and I'll just find a loaf of stolen bread on it. What's going on? And other players are like, yeah, I found her too. Why is she dead? And then other players said, yeah, I saw her getting chased by the guards who immediately cut her down. And that's because while like NPCs are programmed to commit crimes, because if their crime is witnessed by a character with high responsibility, like say a guard, they will pursue them. The problem is NPCs can't pay bounties, so the guards will react as if they've stolen it and tried to run away, which is with direct lethal force. So in Oblivion, people stealing bread get immediately cut fucking down. So that's just an example of how Radiant AI can play out in a way the player might not expect. Because would you expect to walk into a city and just find one of its many denizens be murdered by the guards instantly for stealing a loaf of bread? And that's a key problem with Radiant AI, because you're giving these NPCs broad authority to interpret the commands they're being given in a number of ways in a giant sandbox game where you can't control everything and it can be influenced by the player. My favourite example of that being you can take advantage of the fact NPCs will want to eat by giving them poisoned food, because the Dark Brotherhood, which is the best, the Dark Brotherhood in Oblivion, best Dark fucking Brotherhood, hands down. Fuck Skyrim's Dark Brotherhood, all about Oblivion. Lucian LeChance, big dick OG baller ass pimp. And you get a mission where it's like, oh yeah, here's some poisoned apples. Go into someone's house and steal all their fucking food and put a poisoned apple on their table. When they get hungry, they will seek out the nearest piece of food, which is that poisoned apple. Eat it, die, you don't get in trouble.
That actually sounds like a pretty cool way of taking advantage of the game.
There is, and you're encouraged to do it, because obviously a lot of the Dark Brotherhood missions encourage you to kill people in creative ways, using poison food, or causing them to get into a fight. And you can influence how a fight goes down by dropping a weapon on the floor. Because obviously if a character's unarmed, they're programmed to seek out the nearest weapon that they can legally acquire. And so if you drop an iron dagger on the floor, and they'll go pick it up. And then you give the other character, oh, here's a Daedric Warhammer that's been like, you know, infused with shock damage 40 points. Get fucked. And you can do that. Like, you see people fighting, go into the middle, like, you know what? I'm going to join this like Oblivion fight club. Here's a Daedric Warhammer. You can be the Joker in that one scene. Just snap the pool cue in half, give like the sharpest edge, fight for my amusement.
Make it fast.
Before we continue, Brad, we need to stop for a minute and just talk about the Dark Brotherhood in Oblivion, because the series of missions they give you is some of the most fun I've ever had playing a video game. So as I mentioned earlier, basically you're given broad authority to kill your target in any way you choose, and every character in the Dark Brotherhood in that game is just hilarious, and they all give you advice on whatever mission you're doing. There was like a big huge orc who's like, oh, I'll just go in with a warhammer and smash his head in. But like Lucian LeChance, as I mentioned, the big dick OG mega pimp baller, gets killed in that fucking game. But in Skyrim, if you join the Dark Brotherhood game, you get him as a summon. And he comes in, and if you have Shadowmere, the vampire horse, he comments on the fact you've got Shadowmere and calls it his trusty steed. And do you know why I'm mentioning that? Because Shadowmere is a fucking boss. Like, Red Dead Redemption's been out for a while now, and everyone talks about how good the horses are in that game. Every horse in Red Dead Redemption 2, including my horse, Hot Sauce, can fuck off. Epona, fuck off. Like, Agro from bloody Shadow of the Colossus, fuck off. Shadowmere, the vampire immortal mega beast pimp horse who killed dragons by kicking them to death. The reason I love this is because the mission in Skyrim, where you get Shadowmere, do you know what your mission prompt is?
Is it get Shadowmere?
No, it's behold Shadowmere. You don't get Shadowmere. Shadowmere appears before you, and your mission prompt is go outside, behold Shadowmere, and this amorphous like black blob on the floor. And there's this like ginormous horse with red eyes rises from it, and it's like, that's your horse now. This horse that kills dragons. It's like, yeah. I love that game for like the shit you can do, but obviously because there's such like broad interpretation of various things, it can cause a number of issues. For example, if an NPC doesn't have a low responsibility stat and they need food and they can't buy it, what they'll do is they'll go into like the woods and they'll hunt, and they'll kill a deer and they'll get venison. The problem is in the woods they can get attacked by a bear. So obviously bears are also programmed to seek out food, and if there's a dead deer nearby, they'll go towards it and kill the person harvesting its meat. I don't think anyone important to the story can die, but it can be quite annoying when you're walking around the woods and without your control, one of the NPCs decides to get into a fist fight with a bear.
So what would happen if a bear programmed to look for food couldn't find food? Would it keep looking?
Sometimes, yeah. And I think they said that sometimes bears early in development would go into like settlements. And obviously that's a bad idea, 'cause bears are pretty tough in that game. So that's to program them not to go near fucking cities unless like chasing something or other. And the same was true apparently with like skeletons and bandits from bandit camps.
Right.
And monsters. They just seek out like people to kill. And where's the nearest like population? Oh, there's a settlement over there. So you'd walk into settlements, just like skeletons killing everybody. It's like, just getting all Dark Souls in their ass. It's like, no!
So this all sounds pretty hilarious, but you said the AI at the start was too good.
Yes, according to one of the designers on Oblivion, Emil Plagliarulo, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, he said, yeah, we had to tone it down in the final version fans got to play because early in development, we just couldn't stop the AI from being a dick. And an example he always cites is there's a guy in-game who sells skooma, which is a drug in like the Oblivion universe, and nearby there is a gang of skooma addicts. And ignoring like, the ethical ramifications of like, programming an AI to be addicted to a virtual drug, he says like, whenever you got to go to that guy for a mission that was in the game, he'd be dead. Because, like, without the player's input, those skooma addicts would use all their skooma, decide they want more, like, go to the nearest place they knew they could get skooma. They didn't have any money, so they kill that guy and steal his skooma. So whenever you turn up for a mission, he'd just be dead on the floor.
So were there any other things that happened as a consequence of this AI?
Loads of things, and apparently it made the game almost unplayable, because you'd turn up to cities and people would either be dead, because they all started arguments with one another. There'd be no items to buy because the AI bought all the items and hoarded all the food. Or there'd be skeletons killing everybody because the skeletons would seek out the nearest population centre and just murder everyone there.
when you have something that's powerful, it has a great capacity to be really cool or a great capacity to really make insanity.
And obviously, what the AI will do that, they go to the shops and raid all the weapons, which causes all the guards to start killing people for stealing. And it's just like, yeah, you turn up, it's like Mad Max world. Yeah. Like, we try to create this like, idyllic, like, fantasy paradise where you can like walk around and explore and pick berries and shit, and it just turned into fucking Mad Max. Like Lord Humongous was just there, just like catapulting people on fire into city settlements. It wasn't great. So they had to tone it all down and severely limit what the AI could do and like the scope of the things they were allowed to do in game, because it just, like, they can do shit in game as it stands now that is unexpected and can fuck you over. Like you might get a bear randomly bump into you, or you might find an NPC dead on the ground. But it's way better than just like settlements that are completely devoid of all life because they just got raided by bandits without your knowledge, and you turn up, everyone's fucking dead.
I feel it would be remiss if we didn't at least mention in some part Fallout 76.
Yeah, people are probably expecting us to talk about it, and I have nothing to say. I've not played it. I have no interest in playing it. I've greatly enjoyed the coverage that the game's been receiving lately. Always gives me a chuckle when I'm just reading through, like, websites and stuff like that. And I go, oh, cool. They promised people a canvas bag and sent them a plastic one. That's awesome. Next day, oh, they gave Fallout influencers an actual canvas bag to rub salt in the wounds when they were trying to promote the game. Awesome. But I've got no personal stake in the success or, non-success, as it were, of that game. I just find it hilarious. I think my closest one to that is I played some Red Dead Online recently.
Oh
my god, that is a bag of fucking wank, is that.
What do you do online on Red Dead?
You pay Rockstar money. Fuck you, give us money. Because there's 2 tiers of currency. They've not introduced microtransactions yet, but they probably have by the time this video goes live, and that's going to ruin the fucking shit out of that game because you have to use like your own guns in multiplayer. So if you have no ammo, you just don't have ammo. It's like, okay. And like everyone online's like, how do I earn money in this game? I killed like an entire camp of bandits and I got like 40 cents. A shotgun costs $400, please help. And like, oh yeah, you go to this place and you fish, but you need to be level 30 to get a fishing rod. And the fishing rod costs $60. But if you hunt and you get 10 fish, you can sell them for $40. So in 20 minutes you can earn like so much money. But the problem is now everyone has a fishing spot. You go there and there's just people with sniper rifles just sniping people.
You cannot trust a player base to play a game properly.
You can't,
it's ridiculous.
It's very obviously inspired by Grand Theft Auto Online, which made Rockstar like $1 billion fucking dollars. And it's like, why the fuck would they not monetize the shit out of Red Dead Online as well? But it's just hilarious to me, like how blatantly obvious it is. When I saw like someone do a breakdown of like how much a jet or something costs in GTA Online. So yeah, you need this much in-game currency. The most you can buy from Rockstar as a company themselves, you can pay like, I don't know, like $1 million shark card for like $79, and you need 3 of these to get the jet. So this jet is valued at being like $250 fucking dollars. I only played it in the very early days, and I just remember that in Grand Theft Auto Online, you got told off and you get like in trouble for stealing another player's car in a series called Grand Theft Auto. And then you had to buy insurance for your car because if it got blown up, you lost it.
In Grand Theft Auto, you have to buy insurance.
And then someone figured out if you put a bomb on the front of your car and park it next to someone and blow up your car, and their car happens to get destroyed, you can get away with that. And then people started hacking it to get like millions of dollars. And then you get banned if you had hacked money. So what people would do is they go into a server, give people hacked money, and then they'd get banned.
There's so much exploit.
Yeah, it's because you're cheating. You're not allowed to hack to get money, but please buy this $45 shark card. It's exploitative as shit, and it's taking advantage of people who've got like, addictive personalities, but you can't really fault them for it, can you? It's like, we can make Grand Theft Auto 5, one of the best-selling video games. I think it sold more copies than some new video games like this year in like 1 month because of sales and shit. And it still hasn't made as much money as they've made just selling virtual money. It's like, what incentive have you got to try when you can just buy our virtual money and people will pay you for it?